So you're going to want to look for this connector right here. It's obviously already disconnected, but it's going to sit on this bracket right down there. Okay, so recently I had something happen to me that was a little bit interesting as I was driving. Got my car to go about and do my daily stuff, and once I started the car, I got a check engine light and a service wrench light, and it was all kinds of beeps and chimes and everything, and the car was acting all kinds of weird. Now, this had just happened, this happened right after it had just rained. So it was a little bit weird that happened afterwards. So where I am, we recently got a whole ton of rain, like a lot of parts of the country, but we got a whole ton of it here. So once I started the car, I got these lights, and this is exactly the lights that I got. These lights basically popped up on the dash. Obviously the car is off right now, and this isn't exactly what happened. I just recreated it for that reason. Check engine light came on, the service wrench light came on, and it said engine power is reduced, information, and it would only let me go like 35 miles an hour. Now, luckily I was relatively close to the house, so I was able to actually limp the car home and get it back. But there's a good possibility, especially after it rains, as to why these lights are coming on, and I'll show you exactly what it is. It's basically due to two connectors that are in the car that get moisture in them, and when the moisture gets in there, it causes connection problems with the APP sensor, the accelerator pedal position sensor, and the correlation between the two, and the car thinks it's something's drastically wrong, so it puts it into reduced power mode. Well, I'm going to show you how to fix that right now and where those connectors are. Okay, so here are the two connectors that you're going to want to check. You can see I already have the junction block out and everything already pretty much torn apart here. Now, if you want to get to this point where you need to get everything out and get below, I do have another video that's posted up, and it's a video that explains how to install an NPP control switch, and you can reference that video as to how to get to this point to pull everything up. But once you got everything pulled up, here's what you're going to want to look for. So you're going to want to look for this connector right here. It's obviously already disconnected, but it's going to sit on this bracket right down there, right where my finger is. So it's going to be above that. Once you pull that up and pull it out, you're going to want to inspect the terminals on both sides. Look for any corrosion or anything. I found quite a bit that was in here, and I kind of pulled it apart, and I was able to clean it with a wire brush. Luckily for me, I caught it kind of early, so there wasn't really that much there for me to do it, but it was enough to throw a check engine light. Now, this is the X100 connector. This is the body to IP harness connector that you're going to want to check. The other connector that you are going to need to check is inside the kick panel down here, and it's going to be located right back there, right where that bracket is. I have it pulled out and everything, so you're going to want to pull it up there, but it's going to, once you have it pulled inside here, there's going to be a yellow one and a green one right here. It's going to be this green one right here. And the wires that you're going to be looking for are going to be 16 and below. So it's going to be these wires right here on the back, starting with that all the way on the left, and the 6 wires going across. So from this one going to the left, counting 6. Those, and then the other side of the connector is right here, which obviously I already pulled apart, and just correlate when you pull these apart and check them. This is going to be the connector that goes to the actual APP sensor itself. Pull that off and take a look at it as well. So there is water that comes in here and gets in those. I checked that. It seemed to be okay, but I did find some in the connector underneath here, right here. And again, this is referenced as the X100 connector, and the other connector is, let me just double check, that's going to be called the, I believe it's the X211. So this one is your X100, and the one inside of the kick panel, that's your X211. So check those two, look for corrosion. Water does get in there, and that's what's going to set the code. I'll put up some pictures here too to show you what it looked like before I cleaned it. Okay, so this is what it'll look like when it's all back together. Now do yourself a favor too, as long as you're doing it, check all the other connectors too, just for the heck of it, just because you're down here anyways. Check this one and check this one also, but this one right here with the gray connector, that's your X100, and that's the connector that you're looking for the corrosion in it. And one other quick thing too, in the other video I don't explain how to get out that coolant, the coolant tank, the reservoir. It's pretty easy, there's nothing really too crazy about it. So once you get the junction block out and everything, there is a 10mm bolt right there and a 10mm nut right there. Now in the back here, right about where my finger is, there is a stud that it just slips onto, but there is no bolt or nut or anything, so it'll just come right off. So once you have that bolt and that nut off, just take the tank and kind of like pull it towards the front of the car and it'll slip right off. The other thing I did too was this line right here that goes right here. This doesn't really like to bend too much, so what I did was I just kind of rigged it up that way, and there is a little loop right there, and I just used a zip tie and zip tied it right to the latch, so that way the coolant doesn't leak out. And to release it, it's just these blue tabs. You squeeze it and it'll pull up. So now that those pairs are done, everything got fixed and is back to normal, and I was able to drive the car normally. Obviously, once you connect everything and once all the connections are made, if you have a code clear, you can take it somewhere to get the codes cleared out, so that way it doesn't store in memory and cause you any other potential problems. But it should clear on their own, but you still need to go and get them cleared. If you don't have a code clear or scanner or anything, take it somewhere that can do it. One other thing that you'll know is fixed is obviously all the lights will go away, but then at the same time, you'll have the availability again to switch it back and forth between tour, track, and sport mode and things like that. When it's in that reduced power mode, it'll only let you have that like tour mode screen, and it won't let you change anything, and it'll have all that stuff that'll come back later on. Once it's fixed, then you'll be able to change it, because obviously you'll have full power back again. So if you had this problem after, particularly right after it rained, or you had a big rainstorm, or if for some reason there was water that got in there, go ahead and check those connectors and make sure that that's not going to be the issue. If not, then you might have another problem, but this is something that is relatively common. Now, just because this is what fixed this car doesn't mean it's guaranteed to fix your car, but it's still something to check. And if you're handy, it's something that you can check, without having it cost you any money, because there's no parts to buy, especially if you can save the corrosion early on. So anyways, I hope this helps. Good luck.